Hello, hi, and welcome. Faith again. I saw this card. I'm using the Tarot of Dreams today because I wanted to use a deck that has the astrological associations on the cards, and I didn't want to use the SKT. I could have, but I was thinking of other decks that I have. The Faith card was at the top of the deck of one half. And now as I cut the deck, it's here again. Now what's interesting is I was actually kind of sort of talking about that with a coworker today, where the topic came up somehow about what did he say? He was like, you would think that a lot of times one faith or belief would stand in solidarity with another because even though we believe in different things, or like even though we may call the same things by different names, so many of those beliefs and faiths have many tenets of like love. And why did he say that? I don't remember. He was talking about something, and I was like, and he was like, so long ago there were things that happened, and I was just like, it's stuff that still happens to this day, you know, not to the degree. Well, I guess it depends on where you are. He was like, well, like in America. And I was like, yeah, but, also sometimes things can rear their heads up. But yes, it should be Page of Wands. It should be a certain way. Anyway, that's that. Oh, the Hierophant Matthew. Well, thanks for popping in. Oh, the feeling is mutual. Are you working tonight? Maybe not. Maybe you're just going to play Xbox. Maybe you already worked. Have a good night. The Hierophant was the first thing that Pisces season is going to bring. I guess in a way I see it. This Pisces season has been wild. For seemingly, I don't know what or why reasons. But here lately, I don't even know about like my own, like my personal life. I feel like there's been a lot of like peripheral activity. But I guess today I realize I feel like things have settled in certain arenas of my life. And I feel like sometimes I have a pattern or sometimes I have a habit of relying upon conflict or discomfort to motivate me to make a change in whatever arena I want to make a change in. Are you at work, Zelda? Are you like in the hospital? Because I think you work at a hospital, right? Oh, what Xbox thing? You're never gonna play the Xbox? What? You said you were gonna play the Xbox for like an hour that night. Well, I hope you an ability to get through your extended vacation, Matthew. You did turn it on. Okay, well, hey, that's the first step. You can't play Xbox if you don't turn it on. Sometimes it'd be like that. Five of Cups. All right, five of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. What was I saying? Yeah, I think I have a habit of relying upon discomfort. How was that? I think sometimes I have a habit of overstaying my welcome in some places, in certain arenas, and I'll rely upon discomfort or conflict to motivate me to like do whatever it is I know I need to do, or external forces to come in and basically make pathways like towers, basically, I guess. Um, but tonight, I don't know, I almost have congratulations. So wait, so you're in the hospital, and you're not just working? Question mark. I feel like things in my life are like settling. Like there was. Oh, so I hope you get to feeling better. And I'm glad you have someone that can look after them you um while you're in there. It's fine. You don't have to send me anything, but my Cash App is in the description box. It should be. If it isn't, it should be. Ace of Wands in the moon. Is this me? Look at the lizard. Excuse me. I'm doing well. Like and then the Eight of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Jupiter and Gemini. Jupiter and Gemini, fire and Pisces. This is almost, there's almost, because it's fire and Pisces, there's almost ties to like Sagittarius. Oh, Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Sagittarius opposes Gemini. Interesting. Um, I just saw something about bats. Oh, it's nature. It's these shorts that I am. If I were any more obsessed with them, I would go to the channel and watch every single short. But there are these like nature shorts. They're like animated, and it has fun facts about, or interesting facts about animals. Um, and there was just one about bats. There are bats that are like coming out of the portal in the moon card. I also see the wolf and the dog, which is interesting because that's like the wolf that waits. I think there was also a wolf in the Nine of Wands. Not the crossroads, the not the vagabond, the pugilist. That's what it is. Oh, there's the volcano. So I have AT&T. I was one of the apparently many people who did not have phone service for some time. And then, of course, I get to work, and one coworker was like, "Well, I heard it was like something with the sun," and I was like, "Probably a solar flare, because when isn't there a solar flare, honestly, these days?" And then I was down in the cafeteria, and I was talking to a coworker that I don't get to see usually, and she's one of my favorites. But she works in a different department on a different shift, so I never get to see her. And work is a little slow, so I was like, I said, or maybe she said something, and then I was like, yeah, and then my phone doesn't even work, so it's like extra slow. And then someone was like, yeah, that's because there was like a massive solar flare last night, and next is going to be earthquakes and volcanoes or something like that. And she was like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But I see the volcano in the background, and that's why I'm like, oh, okay. But anyway, I've been feeling lately that there was we'll call it a misunderstanding. There was a misunderstanding, or there was something that happened like months ago. And I was over it before I was comfortable with being over it. And now I'm like comfortable. with being over it. And so today, I've been comfortable for a while, but I can be stubborn. And so sometimes, even though the feeling has like shifted or moved or subsided, like sometimes when the Piscean water in me has like circulated back into a calm, cool, compassionate, whatever, the Taurus in me, my Taurus moon that remembers how I felt, is like not that easy. So sometimes I will hold on to it. Yeah, where you been at? Hello? Sorry. This is hilarious. I ran into a friend that I haven't seen literally since I graduated high school. Is that the moon? I can't. No, I think that's a light. I think that's a light. I can't. So like 12 and a half years ago. It'll be 13 years in June. And I know that we're friends on Facebook. And I was like, I tried to find him and we weren't friends. I don't know if he like deleted, but now he sent me a friend request and he got like 6 friends. So he was one of the, I know a lot of people have gotten off of social media. I was like, what? Cool. Um, anyway, and his name has become somewhat of a synchronicity. There are almost like synchronicities running, and there are many things almost sort of happening that are somewhat semi-related, maybe, but there are like synchronicities running in parallel. But this synchronicity led, and then this synchronicity picked up, and now this synchronicity is almost running as this synchronicity is like sort of ending. Or what? I mean, the season is still young. Anything could happen. But that's also why I was like, oh, it's interesting because one of the ways that I would not even have remotely been able to imagine the cards for Aquarius season into Pisces season, like knowing what I know now, living the few days of Pisces season that I've lived, I can look at the cards and be like, oh, okay, I see it. And yeah. Good night. Have a great sleep. Thank you. It was Spread the Love. It's Spirit Week this week at work. And today was Spread the Love Day. So I left on my pink and red. So that's why I'm wearing pink and red today, because it was Spread the Love Day. It was Spread the Love Day. And we were talking about how there are many belief systems that are rooted in love and spreading love. And then the faith card came out. I get it. Anyway, good night. Anyway, there are two like parallels. I guess there's a parallel of synchronicity and then a field of synchronicity like built around it, as if like these parallels were poles, and then there's the toroidal whatever around those two poles. Anyway, which is also interesting. Okay, yeah, it's okay because I literally had that thought. Cool, I get it. Okay, anyway. Um, So yeah, basically, like I feel like I'm in this place where everything is where I'm okay with how I feel, or I'm okay with being okay with how I felt about what happened. But it's interesting because which works because I don't want to upset or anger manifest things, or I don't want to pursue something like if I'm pursuing something, I want to pursue it because it's what I want to do genuinely, and not because it's like, well, I can do this to get away from wherever. Like I'd like to be clean within myself. You know what I mean? And not like I'm gonna do this so I can whatever anyway. So I'm feeling okay. But it's almost like now that I'm settling into the okayness, especially today for whatever reason, now that I'm settling into the okayness, it's like a softer motivation to, at the very least, pursue or do more research with a few other things. Um, I'm just like, wow, because it almost feels like closure, I guess, in a weird way. And calling it closure makes me almost emotional. I'm like, wait. Anyway, it's almost like this. Like now that things are calm in this space, now it's like an ace of wands. Like, okay, like let's do this. That's why I was like, is this me? Cool. Anyway, so the thing that I actually came live for is when I was leaving work today, for whatever reason, I looked over to my left and I saw the basically full moon. I don't know when the actual full moon is. I know it's within the next few days. I'm pretty sure it's within the next few days, if not tomorrow night. Because I feel like if it was tonight, I would have A, seen the videos, and B, gotten a notification. But I know it's soon. I don't know if it's happening. Anyway, my mom's birthday is tomorrow. My number one fan. But anyway, so I see the full moon, and then I think Sun in Virgo because I keep seeing Sun in Virgo, which at first was the Eight of Pentacles, and then I feel like I saw like Sun in Virgo somewhere else. And even when I split the first half, because the deck is split in half in the box, Faith was at the top, and then on the second half, when I split it to shuffle, it was the Eight of Pentacles, Sun in Virgo. So I was thinking about it before I was like, I'm gonna go live. It's almost like with the sun in both it's like the sun in Pisces. Sun in Pisces would push the shadows this way. Sun in Virgo would push the shadow this way because the shadow was like opposite. I guess it travels in the same direction as the light. But, if something blocks it, then the shadow takes that space that the light would have taken. So since they're on like opposite sides, it's almost like there is no shadow. Or it would be a very thin tangential shadow because from this side, like you have light on both sides. So then it just leaves us, sort of, in a way, standing there. So, since there is no sun in Pisces card, I'm going to pull before and after the sun and before and after the moon. I didn't even think about it. I was like, I know the Eight of Pentacles is Sun in Virgo, so I can pull before and after the Eight of Pentacles for like, what's the energy of the Sun in Virgo energy? Because we're in a full moon, but it keeps coming out as the sun instead of the moon anyway. I was like, well, there isn't a sun in Pisces because I think it's Mercury, Saturn, and Jupiter. No, it's Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars. Saturn is the Eight of Cups. Jupiter is the Nine of Cups. Mars is the Ten of Cups in Pisces. Saturn in Pisces, Jupiter in Pisces, Mars in Pisces. There's no sun in Pisces. So I was like, I'll pull before and after the majors for the sun in Pisces. But when I was like, I'll do that, I wasn't thinking that the moon is that card. And of course, I'm seeing ads about where to go to catch the total solar eclipse. Rima talked about it on her Instagram. And the Rare Gazelle, I'm pretty sure. The Rare Gazelle talked about it on her Instagram. And I think that was it. I keep seeing those ads. And I'm like, and it's interesting because, so the day that I met my journey buddy last year, she was actually heading to the city where I'm getting these ads for because it's in the path of totality. Like that's where she was going. She told me she was going there. And I was like, oh, that's not too far from me. And she's like, what? So then that's how I got to see her. Anyway. I mean, I woke up a few times last night. I had a lot of dreams last night. But what was interesting about waking up last night was like every time I got woken up last night, I felt rested. I felt well rested to the point where like I thought that significantly more time had passed than what had passed. But besides that, I don't know. I'm not someone that really follows solar flares. So I wouldn't necessarily be the person to ask about that. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Like I don't really follow the Schumann resonance. And I feel like at first, when I first heard about Schumann resonance, I was like, oh, like the Schumann is spiking. That's interesting. But now it's like, I feel like the Schumann's been spiked every day for the past few years. So, but to answer the question, maybe my phone felt it. But then we got service back after a few hours. So, but anyway, happy 222. Ooh, oh, we got a face down card. So I'm gonna should I do the top and the bottom of the deck? No, I'll just pull from the bottom of the deck because I'm not necessarily trying to be here all night. Because I make so many long videos. Let's try to make one that's under 40 minutes. Because I've already been live for 20 minutes. So we're looking before and after the sun, before and after the moon, and then before and after the Eight of Pentacles. Sun because it's the sun, moon because it's Pisces. So that's sun in Pisces. And I guess we're in Pisces season, so that's fine. And then sun in Virgo because apparently that's the energy. Unless it's like this solar flare. Because I was like, why is it sun in Virgo? Why do I keep seeing sun in Virgo when it's like we're in full moon territory? So it'd be moon in Virgo, sun in Pisces. I don't know. Yeah. But it was strange. Like for the number of times that I woke up, I expected to be like tired. I expected to feel like I didn't sleep at all last night, but I felt so rested. And it almost like, like if you have to set an alarm or if you have to be somewhere when you sleep so good that you almost get suspicious, like, am I oversleeping right now? Like that was the feeling. And then I would wake up and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, okay. And I went back to sleep. And every time I went back to sleep, I had a different dream. Um, One of them I remember, and one of them I talked about because it was more salient or relevant. I don't know. Yep, I'm a Pisces. My mom is a Pisces. My mom's dad is a Pisces. My mom's sister is a Pisces, and my brother is a Pisces. So 2 out of 3 of my mom's kids are Pisces, and she's a Pisces, and her sister is a Pisces, and her dad is a Pisces. And we have an uncle who's a Pisces, a neighbor who's a Pisces. Yeah, it's a bunch of fish. It was my grandma. It was my grandma who's a Taurus, her husband who's a Pisces. There are 2 Pisces daughters. One of their Pisces daughters has 2 Pisces and a Taurus. The other Pisces daughter has a Taurus and a Libra. Um, 8 of Cups, Saturn and Pisces at the bottom of the deck. This is the card. I love this card. Kind of. For what it meant, for what it illustrated at the time, I love it. Oh, we're pulling from the bottom. Okay. Interesting. We have the 8 of Cups, the Page of Swords, and the Queen of Wands. For sure. Hey, Sandra, how you doing? Did I ask you how you're doing today, Holly? If I didn't, how are you doing today? These are the cards. What's interesting about this is at first glance, or if I was just like reading these real quick, I would say this, and because in the 8 of Cups, they're looking back, it's almost this like, it almost comes across as an energy like doing the bare minimum. it comes across as an energy of trying to do the bare minimum. Like it's almost one of those, like if you watch a movie or even in real life, how you, like, you say goodbye to someone, or someone leaves a group or a person that they really don't want to leave, but the other person is like, this is over, you got to go. And so, like, they walk away and then they look back, and then they walk some more and they look back because they want for the person or the group to welcome them back in. They don't want to actually have to leave. And so it's like it's almost that kind of energy. And then with the Page of Swords, it's like it's trying to get enough distance, it's trying to heal enough, it's trying to transform enough, it's trying to expand its mind just enough to be seen as attractive to whatever they're like wanting. So it could almost be like revenge body energy, but it's a revenge body that is like trying to win something or someone back. Just from first glance. Now, another way to read this would be that, yeah, I think Matthew logged off for the night. He was going to bed. Excuse me. Another way to look at this, almost in a similar vein, is that like this Eight of Cups, Page of Swords, healing, expansion, like attracts the attention of something else or someone else. This would like definitely, like, for the sake of maintaining appearances, like if we wanted to fit in, or if we wanted to, um it's like when we, oh, I forgot that happened today. I want a shirt today. I just so happened, because I couldn't get on my phone, through the magic of circumstance and opportunity, you know, the world, it's fine. I gotta go there. Through the magic of circumstance and opportunity. Because if I had access to my phone, I wouldn't have. Uh, there was like a Zoom thing that was going on at work, and I watched it like a seminar type, webinar type uh, talk. There was a panel, I guess, and I watched it because I didn't have anything else to do, and it was so needed. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, maybe more like validating and confirming, sort of, in a way. I guess, yeah. I wouldn't say that I necessarily needed it, but maybe I did. Anyway, it was just like it was so the just mind blowing, and like it was someone who is accomplished, and someone who is accomplished in her authenticity, who encourages authenticity, whose message was like, big companies can do this and they can do that and they can replicate ad infinitum. They have the money and the resources and they have the audience, but what they can't replicate is an individual. And it was like, you be you, like you're the thing that the world is needing or wanting or missing. And it was so like, and then just like the whole thing was amazing. And I want a free shirt through cooperation with my coworker. It was like this speed trivia, and I can type. I'm not the best typer in the world, but the speed and the accuracy is there. Um, like if I on a really good day, I can hit it. Sometimes I can hit like 90 plus words a minute, if that. Yeah, because especially if I don't got like a lot of special characters and numbers in it, if it's just straight typing. Blah, blah, blah. So I was like, blah, blah, blah. And I was the first person I won. Oh my gosh. I forgot that happened. But more than winning the free shirt. Why am I talking about the free shirt? I don't know. Anyway, maybe it's because of something that came up. I think it was. Oh yeah, because we're so busy trying to. There are many reasons why we could be less of who we are. To be more. Thank you. To be more digestible. But when we do that, there are authentic pieces of ourselves that we don't also like bring to the forefront or showcase. And so it's almost like maybe in this Eight of Cups, this could be a situation, or it could be the result of a situation where we are, for one reason or another, pushed into our authenticity. And that creates almost a conversation. It creates the space for a conversation within ourselves for us to see, acknowledge, and then learn to love and appreciate ourselves, and then to learn to express and have confidence in that being. And that was another point that she mentioned. It was like not only that authenticity and stuff like that, because you're what the world is wanting or needing, but also to be confident in that and to not compromise self. And there was an example that she gave about how like she has so many different identities that from the outside can be seemingly disparate, but they all come together in her. And so if what she puts out into the world, somebody can look at it and be like, well, what is your brand? You seem disjointed and a little bit all over the place. She's like, it's me. Like, that's who I am. Like, this is a reflection of me. I'm not disjointed and all over the place. I'm just the culmination. I'm a space where all of these things meet, and I'm not going to compromise myself because you think that it should be something else. She hired the person to create the label. So she was like, just print the label. And then, of course, it's wildly successful because she is who she is and she's presenting herself to the world as she is. And the authenticity is responded to in kind. Anyway, it was amazing. And it went beyond that, of course. But that was a piece of it. And so it's almost like this is getting into that authentic self-expression. And that authentic self-expression is literally what makes that Queen of Wands so magnetic. I could also read it that way. Cool. So we are looking for the sun, the moon, and the Eight of Pentacles. No, because I'm looking for Pisces. I'm not looking for the moon. I was like, I see the High Priestess, and I'm like, she's the moon. The sun, the moon, and the Eight of Pentacles. Wait, hold up. No, okay. Are these? I only have this much of the deck left. Here's the moon with the Four of Wands, because of course, the Four of Wands was behind the Queen of Cups. The King of Cups and the Two of Cups came out at the bottom of the deck. Was Queen of Cups, Four of Wands, the Hierophant, and Justice. Four of Wands, which is this opening door, the moon, and the Ten of Pentacles. Four of Wands, Ten of Pentacles. Oh my gosh. Love it. Love that energy. So that's around Pisces. Now we still got to find the sun. I'm going to put this here. I'll put it here because it came out first. It'll help me remember. And then we have this death card here. Death and Justice were before the Four of Wands. Death, Justice, and the Lovers. And the Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups, Death, Justice. Queen of Cups, Lovers, Justice, Death. This was all before that Four of Wands. Death kept coming out as, I think it was Mars. For the Mars in Mars conjuncting Pluto, Death kept coming out. Yes. I mean, at researching and potentially applying for a job, but I will claim taking it. I will claim that. Thank you. Yeah. And again, like for me, it's like because I watched it in a Zoom call with the chat on. And so, like, hearing it was one thing, but then to see it being responded to was like, it was a whole, like, more of this in the world, please. Thank you. Maybe that's more of what I needed, you know. And of course, like, I'm going to take part and parcel for myself. I wouldn't say that I necessarily needed it. Was it validating? Yes. But to see like the response to it and the effect of it, that's what I'm like, that's what I'm here for. Love it. So yeah, I guess I did need it. I only got a few cards left, so we're getting down to the bottom of the barrel. Oh, we got a lot of Leonine energy. Oh my gosh. Okay. So here's another opposition, or here's another axis. We have Leo Aquarius again. Leo Aquarius energy has been prevalent, not prevalent. Leo, because all the energy is in Aquarius, but it feels like there's a play on Leo. And it feels like the Aquarius would be like a constellation of stars. Aquarius would be a constellation of stars, and Leo would be like each individual star. I was telling my journey buddy because we caught up a little bit, and I was like, you know, it feels like the Aquarian energy is almost like an ensemble cast, where you have a bunch of headliners, you have a bunch of people that fill seats and sells tickets all together in the same, like performing or working together, rather than it being like a headliner, rather than there being like one or two at the most people who are like gonna sell the seats or sell the tickets and fill the seats. It's that like everyone is a star, but there's so much presence that it's like that's why it feels like Leo. It feels like the sun, it feels like a star, but it's not the only one. That's where it's Aquarius. And it not being the only one doesn't make it like there's no comparison of like which star is more massive, which star is bigger, which star is hotter, which star is the most habitable for Earth, or it's just like it's a bunch of stars all coming together and they're working together, and the people, it's like people go crazy because it's almost like the best crossover ever type energy. So it's interesting that they come out. Anyway, so the star is like at the bottom, just like death was over here. Anyway, so we have strength. Almost gonna be a little Durga. I love it. Strength, the sun, the eight of coins, which is sun in Virgo, and the emperor. Oh my gosh. I didn't actually, and that's literally it. Like these are the top four cards. Oh wait. Yeah, that's the card that came out. These were the last four cards. The four cards that were at the top of the deck. So if I would have went from the top of the deck instead of from the bottom, I would have hit these immediately and then basically not too far because I did have to go quite a ways through to get to the outer piece, but we pulled it from the bottom. So even still, these suns are together. So I was going to separate the sun from the sun in Virgo, but it's impossible. I literally can't because they came out one right after the other. The sun comes before the sun in Virgo. Sun in Virgo comes after the sun with Leo on the other side. Leo on one side, Aries on the other side. And the sun is what? It rules its domicile in Leo, exalted in Aries. I didn't even catch this. In the Four of Wands, the door is opening or the gate is opening. And the Ten of Pentacles, Ten of Coins, it's just like this wide open pathway. This Ten of Coins is definitely giving the energy of the Underdark. And what was that for? I don't know. Maybe it's just because I felt like using the Dungeons and Dragons card. I literally have the cards still right here. I don't think I shuffled them. I might have shuffled them. Yeah, I think I did shuffle them. You remember how, like, after Mazzy True Sword Paladin emerged from the Undercity, there was like green after green after green. It was these three cards. It was Hardy Outlander, Wilson the Refined Grizzly, and Explore the Underdark. It was like all of this greenery. And then we did have the Acolyte of Bahamut, the Acolyte of Bahamut, where kindness meets power. You were on a wayward path until Bahamut showed you that power and kindness can unite beneath the same banner. And I was like, it's starting to grow here, but we really see it flourishing here, which is interesting because that Knight of Coins had very much so the same energy when I used the Santa Muerte Tarot and Lenormand. Because there was that, what was it? It wasn't the High Priestess. There was some card. It was, and I also used the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. Because in the Dreams of Gaia Tarot, someone had come through a portal. It could have been the Two of Pentacles. I think it might have been. And she brought acorns. It's like she brought the seed for the thing, not like a full grown whatever. But the Knight of Pentacles, there were no flowers, but it was so green. It was like you can tell that it's growing. It's actually doing very well. I can't remember if I linked all of this greenery here because, again, like you see it starting to grow here. And it was actually the Empress that took note of the work of that Knight of Pentacles. And it was the Empress that decided to work in collaboration or to bless that Knight of Pentacles with abundance. It's like all this green. And then again, here we see the Emperor. The Emperor who is reading as Mars because of Pluto conjunct Mars. Because of that reading, the Emperor is reading as Mars rather than just Aries, rather than just like half of Mars or rather than just one aspect of Mars. But maybe that's again because of this energy. Maybe there were certain situations where that Martian energy would express more Aries for whatever reason, but would neglect all of its Scorpio. The Scorpio that is literally death, justice, the lovers, and that Queen of Cups. There's Scorpio right there. Oh, Scorpio is here. Scorpio, Aries, Mars is the tower. No tower. Maybe that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But that's like when Mars learned to also embrace its softer but not any less powerful or whatever feminine side of Scorpio. Then it comes into this thing. And then maybe this is Mars holding both Aries and Scorpio, standing firmly as the Emperor. We also see like this golden city down here, which is where, see, now that's playing on the other energy that was at the end of that reading. It was the tower in the Santa Muerte Tarot. I ended up pulling these cards because there was something that came out that gave me the energy of the tower from the time the tower came out as this almost unreachable place because time stood still. It was completely separate and isolated from space-time. And it was like I pulled these cards and we started with the journey into the Undercity. Oh, that also makes sense. I didn't even catch that. Um, there was a journey to the Undercity, and it was like when you go into the Undercity, you're gonna be able to find your way to the tower. Mazzy actually came up before she reached the tower. I was under the impression that the Undercity would lead all the way, but it's like the Undercity was only part of the journey. And again, after Mazzy, she had to she learned banishment. This came out after, right? But still, like now, she did her Dark Knight, Dark Shadow work part in the Undercity. Now, in the world where everything is lush and green and growing, there was another part that she had to do, and that Explore the Underdark literally took her to the command tower. And the command tower has a trial for us specifically. Where's the command tower? Where's the command tower? Where's the command tower? Here it is. The command tower has a trial for us specifically because it adds 1 mana associated with the commander's identity. And so now we're bringing the word identity into it, but a more complete, a more fully realized, whole, well rounded, whole identity, not just a part of our identity that we like to play up or sit in to feel like we will fit in or belong or whatever, right? But like all of us. And then again, we had the fire diamond that spawned endless taunting kobolds. And it was this like the taunting kobolds never stop respawning because the fire diamond, that is the 1 fire mana of Mazzy's identity. Because you can see her first identity is fire. And then earth. And then we saw all the earth anyway. That spawned those taunting kobolds. And we had these two, the Flaming Fist and the Flaming Fist officer, who would gladly protect and bear the responsibility of the protector for the ones that they're protecting. And the more they protect, the more they evacuate, the stronger they get. But it was this endless spawning of these taunting kobolds because the fire diamond literally produces just enough mana to spawn a taunting kobold. So you add 1 fire, costs 1 fire. But then there was banishment. The first thing that Mazzy learned when she emerged from that first part, the Underdark or the Undercity, was banishment, where anything by that name exits the field. So it doesn't matter how many taunting kobolds there are, because they are all under the banner of taunting kobold. It banishes all of them. But the trick is to, I guess, while Mazzy is under pressure and in that situation, to remember what it is that she's already learned. That was a gift from the power and kindness of Bahamut. And Bahamut was its own synchronicity because of the game that I'm playing. Anyway, let's get like one of these. Because I'm always curious. Maybe nothing came out. It would have been hilarious if this face down card was one of the cards I was looking for, because I completely forgot it was there. I forgot again. Okay. I'll give it 2 more. And then I'll just pick the one on top. Oh, it's our dude. Asterion. What's this say? Asterion the Decadent. Number 62 out of 81. 8 out of 9. 8 out of 9 is like very far into the process. And then the 9 of Pentacles is here. Or the 8 of Coins is here. The 10 of Coins is on the table. The 9 of Coins is absent. Who's at the bottom? Banishment is at the bottom. I don't know. Anyway. It's also interesting. You see the planets here around the sun. That's interesting because of the faith card that kept coming out. Because the different belief systems were arranged around the faith card, much like the planets are arranged around this sun. It's literally right here, in between the Nine of Cups and the Three of Swords. See how the planets are arranged in a circle, just like the belief systems? Now, what's interesting, too, is that we have another circle here in strength, and there's a portal in the moon, but there's nothing around the circle, but the character, the figure on the inside is the tiger. And it's interesting because our main character is more central in these two cards. Inside the ring, mostly inside the ring. I guess it's his hands. But she's outside the ring, and it's the tiger. I mean, this energy is gorgeous. We got death, we got the star. It's almost like that came out. There are certain things. Where did that come out? Was it the SKT? Did it come out in Pisces season? Maybe it came out in the cards for Pisces season. Who would it have been? The bereaved? No, maybe it was the necromancer. It was the necromancer and the archangel of healing. That's what it was. And it's like there are certain, like, you can't heal the dead back to life. Like once someone passes, there's no more healing that can be done. So it was like the necromancer was resurrecting something from the dead, and then the healer was healing it back from that point. And then we have like death and the star. Also in death, we have the snake with the zodiac signs on it. And it's interesting that it's not the Ouroboros. The Knight of Coins is behind the star, the same Knight of Coins that attracted the attention of the Empress. Not in the same deck, but you know. It's interesting, the snake in death, because it's not in Ouroboros. And again, it's interesting that it's not in Ouroboros because of all of these other rings that we see. And the faith card. Because of all of these other rings. It's interesting that the snake isn't also in a ring. I guess we'll put this. Nope. Yeah. I did it right. I put the moon in here because there is like the circular portal. Which is another thing that's interesting because this goes here. This goes here. This goes here. These go here. Door opening, things coming through the portal, and then the portal being open around Pisces. So I guess Pisces season almost comes with a question of like what we've opened ourselves up to. Kinda. If we have to ask a question, we don't, but if we did, whatever we opened ourselves up to and whatever we personally aligned with, That's what's going to be almost made manifest. Or we're going to see that coming out and pouring back. So at this point, it's mostly a product of alignment. Now, this face down card is the Palace of Cups. I literally chose this deck. I was like, what about the palaces? What if a palace comes out? And it didn't. So I was like, ugh. But it was in reverse at the bottom of the deck. Not in reverse at the bottom of the deck. It fell out face down. So this is when I knew that I was done shuffling. The presence of the Palace of Cups that I did not see, but to be in the energy of the Palace of Cups was my signal that's like, okay, it's time to start pulling. Now we saw the Queen of Cups behind the Lovers. The Lovers, Queen of Cups, Lovers, Justice, Death. At the bottom of, these are the 4 cards that came before the 4 of Wands. Also, what's interesting is with this Emperor, we have a little bit of triple goddess energy. Because you can see like this one and this one, but there's no like full moon. There not being a full moon in the middle of the triple goddess is accurate because there is no moon. It's the sun. Sun in Pisces, sun in Virgo. I wasn't going to read the book. I still may not read the book. We have a star over here. If the Palace of Cups were in a fish tank, then the star would be filling it up with its rainbow waters. So it's almost like the star is creating the habitat, no, the environment for this Palace of Cups to exist. But what's also interesting is, so if I didn't complete the thought, this feels like a whole city. This is like a whole golden city. We only saw the spire, or we only saw the tower before. And that was our journey to get to that tower. Mazzy completes her journey. It's like after Mazzy finishes her, maybe that's why Asterion is here. As the culmination of that, or who we are by the end of all of it. It's like as Mazzy, and I don't know if she has 3 trials because there are 3 different elements in her identity, you know. But when she completes that trial from the command tower, she finds herself in the tower. But when she gets to the tower again, it's like it's this whole city down here. It's not just that one tower. That's what Emperor is feeling like. And then I guess strength on the other side would be everything that Mazzy had to or has to tap into to actually make it through. Because again, she has to go through the Undercity, she goes through the Underdark, she passes the trials of the command tower. In the command tower, it felt like there were beings in the like lightning, shimmering borealis veil wall thing. Like it feels like there are people on the outside of this looking into it. Or it felt like that, which also was the energy of that 7 of Pentacles in the Santa Muerte Tarot. The one who is like, did you die? Did you really die? Did you go through that death process, the metaphorical death? And every time we die or go through that metaphorical death, it moves another skull over on the abacus. And it's like it keeps track. That's why the owl is perched up in the tree in the Ten of Swords and the Witch's Tarot, and why the birds have been perched up in all these cards. Because the birds know, if you're faking it. Because when you go home and you you may fake a limp home. And when you get behind closed doors, you dancing around like, woo. And then the bird is like, yeah, see, gotcha. But anyway. The thing that I didn't catch was with the tower and the Santa Muerte Tarot. I was like, this tower is interesting. Like this tower, obviously there was one vision of the tower in my mind, which was that tower separate from time space when I pulled the cards. But in the Santa Muerte Tarot, it was like buried. It was like the ruins of a tower. And then it was an energy of that's like the entrance to subterranean ruins. Like if you were to go into that tower and go down, you would find that tower is a part, basically here. You see how big this is right there? If you cover all of this with sand or all of this with water, the tower would be this. But if you go inside and work your way down, you would discover this whole city down here. And there was the energy of the tower being a watchtower, but it was in a state of ruin. So someone or something from time beyond what time is even forgotten, someone was able to back there see something happening here, or the fulfillment of a prophecy or whatever. But I didn't catch that. That was literally the Undercity. That was the energy I got from the Undercity. It's like you go in and you go down and down and down and down, and it expands into this it's a lot more under the ground than what was above the surface. It's like the TARDIS, but with it's a lot bigger below ground than it is above ground, which is almost literally so many plants and other things. Speaking of plants and all the green. But yeah, I didn't get oh, that's the same energy as Undercity. You go in and it goes down, 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 down. That tower that came out in the Santa Muerte. Again, this Palace of Cups is almost... I would almost say the Palace of Cups is a card or a space of remembrance or a deep internal knowing, or it's a space of resonance. It's almost, I saw there's another word. It might have been German. It's the hierarchio in the Archeo deck. To long for something, to long for a home that you've never been in, or to have a longing for something and you don't even know what it is. So this is to be in the space of feeling this city. This is to be in this, being in the city or seeing it. This is feeling it. This is seeing it. The feeling it is what is healed, or the ability and the capacity to see more and more of the bigger picture, to be able to put that feeling into words. That's what the star does, which we've already kind of sort of seen in the second way that I read these cards. As we're walking, as we are healing, as we are coming more and more into our authentic self, as the internal conflict and the internal conflict is quelled and internal peace grows, then we attract something from a more and more and more authentic place, because now we are welcoming, loving, embracing, embodying, exhibiting, showing more and more sides of ourselves. We are filling in the gaps for the external and the internal, for ourselves and for the world, to be able to see us as these multifaceted, beings that we are. That's this. It feels this. Those waters feel this, which increases our capacity to like lock into that feeling. And so it actually gets easier with the more steps that you take, because you get more and more clear on this feeling. You get more and more words to describe a longing for something that you've never like seen within this lifetime. And maybe there are like good memories that have been suppressed, or maybe there are people in our life that have been encouraging and loving and supportive, that when we can give that love to ourselves more and more to the point where we can accept it, maybe we see where it was the whole time. And that's what gives it more and more words. And of course, the more words you have to describe something, the easier it is to communicate what it is. Because if you don't know what this word is or what that word is, if my vocabulary is expansive enough, I can keep going until I find words to communicate it to you with your understanding and you get it. And not understanding as if like I know more than you, just differently. We could call the same thing different names, literally. We can call the same thing different names. But when we're so fixated on the word and the name that we call it, sometimes we can lose sight of what the other is talking about. So we think we don't know, or we think that it's incorrect or whatever. But in reality, if we had the capacity, we would see that it's the same. Or it's similar enough. It's functionally the same. But the similar enough energy is like it's still um it's still it still is what it is to the individual. Like it can be what it is for you. It can be what it is to me. I can understand that they're the same, but I don't have to make your thing my thing, and you don't have to make my thing your thing. We understand their similarities, but we allow for the differences to, it's almost like we allow for the water to fill in the space in our lives. Same liquid, if the vessel is different, then the shape is going to be different. Hey, Care Bear, how you doing today? I'm gonna actually pull before. We'll see. I'll pull before and after the Hirai, because I literally saw a German word meaning the same thing like a week ago. If I can find this deck, it should be roughly, literally right here. Oh my gosh. I am very much so an organized chaos type of person. But what's the word? Organization kind of blows my mind sometimes. It's like, oh, it's literally right here. I don't have to sort through the pile of associated things to get it. We're gonna do 3 shuffles. That's fine. The spelling doesn't matter. Rio for short. Yeah, I was literally just talking about organized chaos with one of my coworkers today. 2 Archeos came out. The Angel and the Warrior. This is hilarious. That's the 3rd time today. Okay. The Angel and the Warrior. Cool. They are my signal. The cards are as shuffled as they need to be. We're looking for the Hirais. I'm pretty sure I know what this card, literally right here. One of the cards that came to my mind is here. That's why I was like, yeah, I'll pull before and after. Okay. Another one of the cards was actually at the top of the deck. We have Mobius before the before. and I see like the Grim Reaper at the top, and Death is at the bottom of the deck. With, oh my gosh, literally. It's interesting that the snake on this Death card isn't the Ouroboros. And then we see a more Ouroborean type image with the Grim Reaper at the top. Cool. And then the Shadow Diver is after the card after. So we have Mobius and Shadow Diver. Shadow Diver also has this spiral. The spiral. And then again, we have the Reaper that is coming to break that, to help the Ouroboros let go of its tail. Because, sometimes you need to. Cool. So the card that came out before the Heraith is Wolf. And I'm like, because literally, and because Wolf has been like everywhere. It was Wolf in the Owl and the Sage card. Well, I pulled before and after the card. So the card before, and then the card after the card after. Out on the window, out on the edge and the ledge and the wings, waiting in the wings. So of course Wolf is here. And then is the card that came to my mind. It is, what is this? Animus Anima? Anima Animus is on the other side of the Heraith, where we see the two halves, the feminine and the masculine half. And then maybe a complete being, a whole being in the back. Maybe not. What is that? Sure, why not? That's what we'll call it. This was one of the cards I had in my mind. The other card was actually at the top of the deck when I pulled the deck out. When I pulled the cards out. Cool. Venus-Mars conjunction in Pluto. Venus-Mars conjunction in Aquarius, a couple of degrees away from Pluto. And we've already seen the lovers. Here's the Death from Mobius. Here is the lovers, which is the feminine and masculine aspects coming together, but to complete one whole being here. There are also stars here. So I initially noticed the suns on the neck of the Strength card. You see them? There you go. The suns on her neck tattoo type thing, which is also funny because my boss mentioned, she's like, oh, he has a neck tattoo. You can't see it in this picture, but the energy of neck tattoos came out in person. And that's a synchronicity back to same synchronicity train. But here in Justice, we see stars along the scales. We also see stars below her neck tattoo. You can see them. Oh, there are 2 rows of stars there. On her clavicle, question mark? I don't know. But it's interesting that this Justice card holds a scale in each hand, or each hand holds, one of the scales, rather than each hand holds one of the trays, rather than just sort of the scales in general. I don't have too many decks that show it like that. There's also this red string giving me red string of fate energy, especially with the lovers. And they're balanced. The masculine and the feminine have embraced. And again, I guess because I mentioned the Leo Aquarius polarity and the balance that it has, or the way that it's coming out as this ensemble cast where everyone every star is their own Leo energy, but still they're able to harmoniously coexist. They're not competing up in the sky to see which solar system has more planets and whatever. I don't know anyway. The warrior, the angel, anima, wolf. The cards are just cards. What I will say is interesting, though, is we almost have, again, this longest spire type energy. If I do it that way, can you see it a little bit better? We have that longest spire type energy. Like this one here and this here. But in the angel is embracing itself. When's the last time you hugged yourself? Told you that you loved yourself. Let me stop. Cool. I feel like this was a whatever, but oh. And then another thing that's interesting about this, oops, I didn't smeared all the cards out. Another thing that's interesting about this star card in particular is that both jugs are being poured out and in what, from a certain perspective, they're sort of different, but they're similar enough spots. I know in some decks it's like one is being poured into the water and one is being poured into the land. Like the water goes in different places if it's being poured at all. But here they're kind of sort of going to very similar places. Yeah, and then we see like the sun as like where the water hits the pool. Right. I don't know. And we see all the little fishies. Just kidding, there are no fish. For some reason I saw maybe it was like some of this coral. Oh wait, are those fish? Those are fish. We see the little fishies. I think those are fish. Okay, now it won't even focus. Wow. There you go. They are fish. You see the little fishies. And it's Pisces season. Cool. So around here is the wolf and animus anima. It's almost like, because the wolf has been the wolf that waits. So it's like, it almost feels like something of us that is hidden within us, or something of us that awaits, something of us that waits for us from within us. Like it's not outside of us. Which again, with the Eight of Cups and the Page of Swords, the more we can have that internal conversation and find that understanding, I guess, within self, the easier it is to be in a place outside of internal conflict. And for a while, there was the question of like, who are we in the absence of internal conflict, and what arises within the self in the absence of internal conflict? When we're not at war with ourselves and when we're not fighting ourselves, what comes to the surface naturally? The warrior and the angel is such an interesting duo of cards to come out. I was talking about star card the other day. Hope versus faith. I think for me, hope and faith, for me, hope almost feels like it has more of a destination. And faith just is a trust, right? Like we would put our hope, I don't know, we could put our hope in God, but it's like I feel like we would put our faith in God. We would put our faith in the creator, but like we hope for something to happen. I guess you can have faith that something will happen, but at least more contextually, it would be faith in something and hope for something, hope for tomorrow. Poisonally. What these doing? We have a longing for ourselves. We have a longing for something that resides within us, which is, very philosophical or something. What you long for is already within you. It's also interesting that it's almost like the color schemes are a little bit. Oh, 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 come on. Don't fall, Angel, don't fall. No. They're kind of like mixed. You see the more like yellow sepia page book, and then the one with the blues and the whites, they kind of like flip. I don't know how to hold cards. Cool. Ooh. The Three of Pentacles also came out as it was one of the five. It was 1/5 of the first card for what Aquarius season is asking us to be mindful of, or what we learned in Aquarius season. It was the Necromancer, the Archangel of Healing, the Three of Pentacles, the Empress, and somebody with the Empress. I don't remember who it was. I know it was the Archangel of Healing and the Necromancer, the Moon, and the King of Cups. And the Three of Pentacles were working with the Empress and something else. Whatever that something else was. The Three of Pentacles was building that tunnel, was building that pathway. The Ten of Pentacles is the completion of it. Now it's just open and things can freely come and go. We even see the same sort of like paved pathway, cobblestone pathway type energy. And again, it's like Pisces. The Pisces energy is opening the door. Or Pisces season is creating the alignment. Pisces season is creating the opportunity, is creating the calendar invite, and it's sending it like to this person and that person, this energy and that energy. And when these two suns show up, it's so heavily Leo coded. Because again, we literally get the sun in Leo. I mean, I was looking for the sun, but Leo, sun, Aries. Like the sun is very much so sunning, but the moon is not mooning to the same degree. But again, it's that like sun in Pisces, sun in Virgo. There is no moon. So on the side of the sun, this is an energy of conviction. To have the strength to continue. Oh, this is also 8/8. 8/8 is Lionsgate, and we see the tiger here. but we see a big cat, and there's all this Leo energy. I didn't even catch that. But around the sun is this, whatever word I just use, commitment and dedication to mastery. We've done the work with the Eight of Coins in a space of mastery. To It's almost like to reach a space of mastery. It was like worst case. It is an 8 year. I didn't catch that. Um, it's almost like not the weakest link, but it's almost like we may be asked to do things that we may never actually have to do in real life, just to prove that we can if the situation ever calls for it. And maybe it's because on the other side of this is a literal emperor. And, if the emperor is put in a position to do something, they got to do something or to make a choice. I don't know if, like, when the emperor has an entire empire, thing like, oh, I don't know, I've never done this. So I guess we'll just, of course, that's anybody can make any choice or decision. But around the sun in Virgo is the sun and the emperor. The sun is actually the warrior in the Spirit Keeper's Tarot, and the sun as the warrior made an appearance in the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. The angel in the Spirit Keeper's Tarot is Temperance. So by name, we have the Temperance and we have the sun. Temperance also came out in some way. It was also a thing. I mean, sun in Virgo is the sun and the emperor. I'm not surprised to see cards that are this powerful flanking the significator for, like, why is Virgo showing up as the sun and not the moon? Because we're in Pisces season, full moon Virgo territory, so the moon should be in Virgo. Even this emperor itself, there's the light casting this way, the light casting this way. There is no place for shadow here, or the shadow doesn't have a place, because wherever the shadow would be, it meets the light. If the light is here, the shadows get projected this way. But with the sun also here, it cancels out. The energy of that canceling out. There was something. I felt like there was a card or an image that I saw. That's why the sun is in Virgo. It's the emperor and the sun. And I love that the sun, the energy behind the sun is almost like, I'm going to put the sun right there. Interesting. I guess what's also interesting is, though, this Pisces season has been wild in ways that I'm sure someday I'll appreciate. um, I don't write. I love to write, but I don't. There was an energy before where the sun was coming out and it was like things being seen. Kind of like the things behind closed doors being seen, or the work speaking for itself. Almost this energy. Whatever we put ourselves in alignment with, it's going to be wide open. Because that, how we align ourselves, positions us with an energy for an opportunity or whatever. But now, Leo, maybe that's also the Leo. It's us. It's almost like it's you. We're being seen. Which is why it's like, the more we're aware of ourselves in totality, And the more we can trust ourselves and rely on the work that we've done, the easier it'll be to hold presence and to move forward. It's almost like the easier it'll be to like go with the flow when things come up, right? Let's say it's an amazing opportunity, but you have an insecurity. Your insecurity can remain an insecurity, but if you're aware of your insecurity and if you've done the self love work healing enough, the presence of that insecurity won't jeopardize an opportunity. Or it's like to have a doubt is one thing. It's almost like, and it came out not too long ago. Doubt by itself is not detrimental. Doubt alone does not cause too many problems, but it's what doubt causes us to do or not do, right? It's almost like fear. It's not courage or bravery if you're not afraid. Otherwise, you're just doing something. To have the doubt but do it anyway, to be afraid but do it anyway, to be whatever, to be insecure but accept the position, accept the love, accept the attention, accept the challenge anyway. Doubt alone is just another anything. But it's when it has the power over our choices and decisions where it becomes a problem. And then it's us not taking advantage of the opportunity. It's us not rising to the occasion. It's us choosing to reject or shrink away or run away that causes things to fall apart or that causes problems in our manifestation. It's not the presence of doubt. Because there are many people who do many a thing and they doubt themselves. They're insecure. They have fears and worries and concerns, but they don't allow it to stop them. And I think sometimes when we put the blame on the feeling or the emotion, then it becomes easy to fall into this need to repress. Like, I don't want to feel doubt about anything because then I'm not going to get anything and everything is going to fall apart. So it's almost like we spend so much time, energy, and effort not feeling a feeling instead of like allowing that feeling to be what it is, but still doing whatever anyway. It's like I feel like I can't. I feel like I'm struggling to find the words to communicate it, but it's like we turn an anthill, a mound, into a mountain, and we're so focused on the mountain that we don't see the opportunity. Now we're in our heads about, I shouldn't be feeling this. I shouldn't be feeling that. I'm going to do my affirmations and I'm going to listen to this to raise my vibration out of this frequency. But it's like people are afraid it's a part of life. That's why courage is courage. That's literally why the strength card is like, it depicts the lion and it has energies of courage and bravery rather than just being like a strong man, rather than being a bodybuilder, rather than being the person who like literally trains their body for that and it's physical. So there is no doubt, there is no worry, there is no courage, there is no bravery because there's no like how much courage does it take to like breathe? How much courage does it take for us to allow our bodies to do their natural like bodily functions? Like depending on the situation, not much. There are things that just happen like without thought and effortlessly. And it's not necessarily that we have to get to the point where everything is effortless and there's no challenge, but it's to get to the point where we love ourselves enough where we take that chance. We take the full leap of faith. Anyway. So anyway, there you go. Exactly. Sometimes we think we want what we want until we get it. Or sometimes we think we want what we want until we don't get it. And then we see it as it passes by and we're like, oh, from a distance and from up here it looks like one thing, but on the side and from the back we're like, oh, rejection is God's protection. I guess I'm not surprised because Sun in Virgo is the Eight of Pentacles. But this is just like, it's something that we do. This natural order of things right now, sun in Pisces, moon in Virgo. If there's a sun in Virgo, it's because we take agency in our life and we put it there, basically. And we have the confidence to do so. So basically, literally everything girl was saying. So no problem. It's to not only put ourselves out there, to not only do it, but to do it with confidence. Because if we do it, and I'm like, we can feel, because I was literally just like, you can feel insecure, you can have doubt, but it shouldn't stop you from doing whatever. And having confidence in ourselves makes it easier, because now something or someone outside of us, external to us, isn't going to convince us to not do what we think is for us or what we know is for us to do. We become more easy to convince to take a path other than the one we know is for us. But confidence helps us stick to it. It helps us build resistance to external detractors. And again, like, that could be coming from very good places. Like when she got the advice that she got, it was like, it seems a little all over the place. Like, what is your brand? What is your angle? Because you're almost self-contradicting. And she's like, this is who I am. Like, if you've never seen Superman and Clark Kent in the same room, well, I'm Superman and Clark Kent in the same room. But I thought they were the same person. Where's the card? I thought Superman and Clark Kent were the same person. Well, we both here together, so. And then it's like, oh, maybe you're right. Like, maybe I should revisit this because I want to do this or because I want to do that. That was her point. Her point was that we become more easy to convince to pursue a way that is not our way, or to play to an audience, or to do whatever, and then you're not being you. Anyway, so I mean, I don't know. Honestly, some days I feel like I'm just I'm just cruising, And sometimes it's like I'm cruising and it's just like, what is happening? I'm just like in my car, driving down the street, just like, oh my gosh. But inside the car, there's a whole bunch of it's almost like if there are screaming kids in the back and there's other stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. I don't know. Anyway, the High Priestess and the Six of Swords. Final cards from the Tarot of Dreams. We see the two pillars of the Emperor in this High Priestess. And we see those orbs at the top. And then we see the full moon. We also see the same portal arch type energy. And then the other card is the Six of Swords. Speaking of Mercury in Aquarius. Mercury is in Aquarius. You have twin Gemini toddlers. Oof. And a 7-year-old. See, I applaud you. You're a Gemini with twin Gemini toddlers. My mom is a Pisces with 2 Pisces kids and a Taurus, who's basically a Leo. I knew that one of my younger brothers was a Scorpio moon. I knew it. I called it. It's so apparent. And I knew the other one was a Leo moon, because I was like, I know he's got Leo in his top 3. He has to. And I'm pretty sure he's a Leo moon. And I'm like, called it. I knew it. He just Leo all over the place, but also very Taurian. But that aspect is also one of Leo. So maybe him having both is it amplifies that, which I see, which makes sense. Anyway, it's fine. You're a Libra with Libra twins. See? Is a Taurus born 420? Oh, snap. It's like the Six of Swords has sailed because we see that same portal, whatever energy. We don't necessarily see the moon, but the Six of Swords is sailing into High Priestess territory. Oh, we kind of see it here, almost in a way. The gold trim frame is reminding me of this. I mean, it's Pisces season, so. Bottom of the deck is the Nine of Swords, which is Mars and Gemini. Mars and Gemini trine Mercury and Aquarius. And then we see the full moon being blocked by those nine swords. So this could be like when doubt or fear or insecurity blocks our intuition. Or when we can confuse paranoia, fear, insecurity, worst case scenario as intuition. But in reality, it's like that's just our fear talking. That's the part of our brain that like protects ourselves. And sometimes it can be tricky to discern the difference. Cool. Am I going to get a final one of these? Sure. I pulled them out. I got to shuffle them anyway. And then oh my gosh, it's been almost 2 hours. I was like, oh, maybe I'll only be on here for like 40 minutes. It's an hour and 41 minutes and 52 seconds. Oof. Gemini, Taurus, Moon, and Rising. Ooh, I know a Gemini, Sag, Moon, Taurus, Rising, I think he is. He's a full moon baby. He's a full moon baby. I think I knew that. I feel like there are people who I know are full moon or new moon babies, but then I forget. But then when they're like, I'm a sun in this sign, moon in the same sign, or moon in the opposing sign, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're a full moon baby. Or you're a new moon baby. I knew that, but I forget. I relearn it every time. Like when I'm talking to my journey buddy, oh yeah, you're a full moon baby. We talked about this like 10 times. All right. Archeo. Face down with force. The midwife. I may have seen her once. Bottom of the deck is the midwife. The Archeo that came out face down on the table is the angel. The angel and the midwife. Wow. What if someone's like godparent was an angel or something? I mean, I guess that's pretty much the energy of having a guardian angel. The angel, I'm going to read the tale of the angel. How about it? The angel's tale. Charged with taking care of a mortal for the first time, the angel was disconcerted by the suffering these transient beings endured. How abjectly lonely it must be to feel isolated and separated from the totality. But later it discerned more. It discerned more as we're talking about the Nine of Swords, where things can almost look like intuition. It discerned more. It saw that with mortality comes color as inspiration, language as poetry. You see that, Care Bear? Language as poetry. There you go. Math as pattern, the elegant dance of intuition and logic, eye contact, the ways of touching, the reading of emotion, and kindness for its own sake. Knowing this, the angel's wings parted to an understanding of humankind, and it was able to embrace its role as guardian. It was able to embrace its role as a guardian, and the guardians were what at the bottom of the magical dimensions oracle cards and activators. Cool. Oh my gosh, love it. So thank you, Care Bear and Holly and Matt and Zelda for stopping by. I hope that you have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey where you find. And I hope that if a moment calls for pause, you can give pause. If it calls for clarity, you can be open to the clarity. If it calls for bravery, you can be brave. I hope you an opportunity to witness the beauty of co-creation in play. I'll say, why not? We'll say that. And until next time, keep on keeping on, I guess.